Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Ask the Expert session on how to build a privacy resilient workplace with privacy management for Microsoft 365. This session is associated with the breakout session from earlier today. And if you weren't able to attend that, no worries, it will be available on demand soon. I'm Shilpa Bothra, Product Marketing Manager on the Microsoft Compliance and Privacy team, and I will be your moderator today. On the agenda, today, we will meet our team of experts who will help answer your questions on privacy management. We will go through some housekeeping items and then open it up for discussion. We are taking your questions through chat, so sorry, my PowerPoint is behaving a little strange, so let me go back. We are taking your questions through chat, so please use the Q&A box to ask us any questions. We'll try to answer as many questions live as we can, but also note that we have off-camera SMEs who will help us answer your questions that we are not able to get to today. This session is being recorded, so please make sure that your questions are relevant to the topic today. We also want to make sure that we adhere to the Microsoft Code of Conduct that you would have seen. I'll put it up here on the screen. I won't read all of it, but just want to call out that any disruptive, disrespectful behavior or any kind of harassment or discrimination will not be tolerated. With that, we want to spend most of your time on your questions, and we'll do a quick introductions of the team. Shilpa, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, my name is Shilpa Ranganathan. I lead the product team on privacy management and excited to be here and answer any questions that you may have for all of us today. Thank you.
Amy?
Hello, my name is Amy Dang. I'm currently on the privacy management team as well. I'm excited to learn about what's important to you through this opportunity and engage on privacy management.
And Min?
Hi everyone, my name is Ming, and part of the privacy team as a product manager, and great to be here and want to learn from you guys. Thank you.
Awesome. With that, Shilpa, maybe we can start with what are the current challenges that customers are facing in the privacy management space today, and why did we decide to build this solution?
Yeah, awesome. And I can go on and on about the challenges that customers face today, but I'll keep it short in the interest of time. What I'll do is at least start with giving just a brief context of where our customers are, right? So GDPR and laws like this have been in effect for a while. And so customers have wanted a solution to help them go through this. So of course, there have been, either homegrown solutions, cobbled together, chewing gum, duct tape, everything that they could find, including other vendor solutions, etc., to participate and help them through. So basically, the biggest challenges coming out of all of this has been, first of all, customers don't have the visibility of what privacy risks are in their environment, and what they don't know they can't solve for. So first and foremost, everybody was looking for, hey, let me know, tell me what my environment has, how do I solve for it? That was problem number one. Problem number two was, okay, so even if I know what the problems are, how do I solve for them in my environment? Also, we're a very small team. Typically, administrators are a really small group of people, and so it's really difficult to scale with the volume of data that keeps cropping up in their environments every day. So it was a matter of how to mitigate these risks as well as scaling them as new content comes through. And then the third problem has always been, hey, most of my issues happen inadvertently by the employees in my organization. So how do I catch it, prevent it? So these were kind of I would say, broad strokes, the three biggest challenges that we heard from our customers in this current environment. And our goal with privacy management, the V1, is to attempt to solve some of these biggest challenges that we heard from our customers.
Yeah, thank you, Shilpa. Min, I'll ask this next question to you. We've often seen that it is difficult for customers to get started with the solution. How are we helping customers get started with privacy management?
Yes, sure, Shilpa. So I think we've heard a lot of customer feedback. Whenever they start any kind of solution, it's very difficult for them to find where to start and how to start and how to get the permissions and what are the license they need. So what we have been working on is we made this very simple. And I think we have one single entry point being made for you to start our kind of a solution. I think you can go to aka.mss/try privacy management to get it started. And when you get in there, normally people were facing permission problems. What we made it simple is if you are the part of a global admin or you're part of any privacy admin group, we're gonna show you very simple set up trial, which is one click you can get it started. If you don't have a permission, we have a instructions and part of the get it started. You can help you to navigate through how to get it started. And once you click that set up a trial, it's just one click. It's gonna take 1 to 2 minutes. We will be automatically provision license and make sure all the permission being set up for you properly within the solution, and you will be landed to the solution. And I think after that time, I think another side is I think the goal for us is also wanna get you to the value of the solution as quick as possible. So once you kind of finish all this setup trial, license, permission, everything being kind of set up properly, we're gonna start hydrating the data and to make sure all the insights, privacy risk will be started kicking started and trying to detect for you. So after about 24 hours, when you come back to the solution, you should be able to see all the insights, all the personal data across the organization, and what are the risks associated with this data within the dashboard. And that's where you can get started for the solution. And also we have a few recommendations on the top banner, be able to show you what are the recommendations for you to get started, to get very deep into the solution.
Thank you, Min. So it seems like we're making it really easy for customers to get started. I know you mentioned privacy risks and insights a few times. Shilpa, I'll throw it over to you again, and there are some questions coming in that we'll answer in a minute here. Could you give us a sense of what are these insights and risks that the solution helps customers discover?
Yeah, sure. The first one is around, like I mentioned, people don't know what to fix when they can't see it. So the first one has always been, show me the sprawl of data, personal data in my organization, where personal data lives in my organization, how it moves across different boundaries has been the biggest ask. And so that's one of the first insights that we offer to you out of the box to our customers is they come into the privacy management solution and we give them an insight about where all personal data lives in their environment. If it's multi-geo enabled, then we also showcase across geos where all the personal data lives. And personal data in our case is aspects like name, address, social security number, all of the sensitive information types that we use. So we show you your entire landscape. Additionally, what we have done is added a few privacy risks as well out of the box. What do I mean by privacy risks? The first one is identifying any personal data that has not been used for a very long time. So showcasing those out of the box. The second one is identifying personal data that has been overexposed in your environment. So that's the second type of risk. And the third type of risk is identifying any personal data that moves across different boundaries. And boundaries here could be departments or regions. So a combination of these aspects is what we showcase out of the box as insights for the organization. It's a teaser for organizations to begin where they want to start their remediation process. And over a period of time, these insights are dynamically updated. We also show trend lines of how these risks are being remediated over time and what's happening to them. So that's kind of the nutshell of all of the insights.
Thank you. Amy, we have a question that I'll pass it to you. Will the data discovery tools today in privacy management be deployable for data outside of Microsoft 365?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that is absolutely something that we are interested in doing. So as part of our journey, those are capabilities we want to broaden, right? Our abilities outside of our current capability. So currently, for the version of privacy management for Microsoft 365, we do deal with Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, OneDrive for Business, and Teams.
And I know we also have integration with our APIs available in our solution that customers can use to integrate. Could you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have privacy, essentially privacy subject rights management APIs that are available. We're making that available to customers, ISVs, partners, so that you can really call into our solution and automate request creation to make that more extensible and just really help us meet you wherever you are in your journey today with tools that you may already be using. So for example, if you're using line of business apps or you're using maybe a partner solution or a different solution, right, to orchestrate your DSRs, what we call subject rights requests today, we want you to be able to leverage our APIs and automate the process of opening those requests within Microsoft 365.
Thank you, Amy. So it's like we're meeting our customers where they are. So integrating with their current processes and their applications is key to get them going on the solution. Min, I'll toss this next question to you. So while privacy management is important, how will it affect HR who will need to manage privacy related material daily? Will they receive notifications constantly, or is this a setting?
Yeah, this is a great question. Thanks, Trevor, and for and I think first of all, I think for the for how we're gonna handle this privacy risk within the HR team, because as everyone knows, HR team gonna handle employee data on a day-to-day basis, and their kind of primary job is really just operate on top of the employee data. So I think the first of all, when we're looking at this privacy risk, we only trying to detect three different type of risk. One is, hey, the data hasn't been used for a long period of time, which is kind of become a risk to the organization. Another one is, the data, which is violate some of these, like GDPR transfer data between, boundary, different country to another country. And another side is the, I think overexposure. So it's not trying to kind of notify the, the HR employee on every kind of data they're handling. We're only kind of trying to detect any kind of risks. And then the second part of this is also we've heard about the feedback from customer as well. I think sometimes sending notification, it becomes noisy, and we have a few settings which can help to reduce that kind of overwhelming. The one way is the notification is not sending on every operation of the data there, for the employee. It's really, I think, the admin can configure, into a more like a digest frequency, which is they can send on the, daily, or they can also send on a weekly, and even they can, kind of optimize to monthly to send it to the employees who are, operating on this data, cause the risk. And then the last one is also, if this has become too noisy and you will only want to be able to see the insights from the administrator perspective, you can kind of, operate and turn off the, the notifications as well. So these are the three kind of area we kind of provide, to help you, in this situation.
Thank you, Min. Shubha, this next question for you. Are there any plans to expand the available legislative requirements in the privacy management tool? Canada and the provinces, for example.
Yeah, Shilpa, this is a great question. If you wouldn't mind, may I just append to what Min was talking about in the previous question as well before I take this one?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, in addition to what Min was talking about, I think we also have, like, not just for the HR team, again, the question is for the HR team, but there is a in the moment block in Teams as well. So if, let's say, you're an HR organization and you're handling personal data within Teams, you're sharing some of the personal data within Teams. In addition to the digest frequency that Min spoke about, that can be controlled and sent. Teams will also block you from doing any sharing any personal data at once the policy is turned on. So a combination of blocking in the moment if turned on, as well as email digests that can be controlled in the frequency at which you receive these digests is one of the ways either HR or any other department can avail the privacy management solution for their needs. With that, to the next question, which is about being available for other legislative requirements. So taking a step back, I want to make sure we are orienting everybody to what the solution actually targets, because privacy management is a plethora of so many problems that can be solved, right? Which is a combination of what is the data that Microsoft holds, or it's a combination of customers helping their customers, right? So for starters, the privacy management solution is, think of it as if I'm an organization like Bank of America, then this solution is intended for a customer like Bank of America to help protect Bank of America's customer data or Bank of America's employee data. And it's not about the customer data that is there in Microsoft or other aspects, right? So we're focusing our solution more for the for our customers like Bank of America, and the personas who we target are people inside Bank of America, the administrators and the employees of Bank of America, for example, who are handling these personal data items. So with that in mind, it does help with all of the legislative requirements. We've taken into consideration some of the principles. Again, it's not about the regulations themselves. The V1 caters to the principles that are behind all of these requirements, which comes from data minimization, data transfers, data overexposure. These are all parts of the legislature, as well as the data subject requests, handling all of that. So some of these already are universal principles for privacy and what needs to happen. So we are solving those. Second of all, Microsoft 365 already has data boundaries built in. There are Go locals, there are geo boundaries, etc., where the data is held and kept into. And so privacy management builds on top of the M365 tenant information that's already there. And so parts of that also accrue to all of the legislative actions that are needed there. So it builds upon all of the goodness that's already there in M365 today. And let me know if there's a deeper level question that I can answer here, Shilpa, and take it from there.
Thank you. We have a few other questions, so we'll answer those first, and then maybe if we get a follow-up, we can dive a little bit deeper on there. Amy, this next question to you, does Microsoft has a roadmap of how privacy tools may also cover SharePoint on-prem environments, which haven't been migrated to the cloud yet?
Yeah, great question here. So I think this is similar for us when we're talking about dealing with any content outside of the Microsoft 365 online services. So we want to absolutely broaden our capabilities, right, to provide more visibility on your data when it's not an Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, OneDrive for Business, and Teams. So we don't have a timeline we can share on that, but just wanted to, say that we absolutely hear that ask from our customers, and that's exciting to hear and hear it here again that it's something of importance to you. So absolutely something that we are thinking about.
Thank you, Amy. Min, maybe you can answer this next question, which is about does privacy management require making a copy of other information for indexing?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, there are a couple of, areas in the solution today where kind of, I think require, like the content be able to help the investigation and be able to, operating on the, DSRs. So I think from the investigation perspective, from the, alert, all this, policy matches where we don't kind of making all this, kind of a copy of the content. It's really just to make sure, I think the content reside within the, M365 environment and, where it is kind of in place to doing that. But the areas like, when you do a deep investigation, because you really wanted to kind of operate on top of the data, you want to have a dedicated, copy of the data to operate. For example, if you wanted to do I think investigate on the, issue, because that essentially can become a privacy events or privacy incident. So you're gonna, within the solution, you're able to create issues. So from there, we kind of, make a copy for that content for you to, to be able to, operate on top of it. And but I think whenever you do any kind of operation like remediations, it will be also result back to the, I think to the original kind of, document as well. And I think also when you, I think when we kind of finish that operation, we will make sure all the data will be cleaned up as well, based on the retention, and you can set up within the tool. And then another side is from the DSR tool, because the capability we provide like a reduction, all this capability. So this also kind of require have that kind of the same kind of copy mechanism there.
Thank you, Min. Shilpa, I'll hand this next question over to you. How does Microsoft Privacy Management handle data de-identification?
Yeah, so one of the basic principles in privacy management was, of course, making sure that we anonymize any content that is there for investigation, because that's how we reduce bias as well as make sure privacy is, maintained throughout, right? So the way we do it is anonymization is on by default. And there is a way of either a setting that can be used to de-anonymize, or typically there are, bound to the roles and permissions themselves. If you are a global admin or a privacy administrator, privacy management admin role group, which is kind of access to everything in your tenant, at which point you're able to see the de-anonymized content as well. So there are certain role groups for whom de-anonymization can happen. There are certain role groups for whom anonymization will always be turned on, just because of the hierarchy at which they kind of complete the investigative experiences. And we also have a tenant-wide setting that administrators can use to turn on or off the anonymization of content there.
Thank you, Shilpa. And we have provided guidance and documentation on our technical docs around roles. So please be sure to check that out. We also let organizations define, because they can control who has access to what, though we can provide guidance and recommendations. So wanted to call that out. There are one question that I can answer really quickly is, when will this be available to education customers? Right now, education customers are able to buy privacy management. So we recommend you In short, there is no hurdle for education customers to use the solution today. It is available to A1, A3, and A5 subscriptions. Shilpa, this next question as well, I'll hand it over to you. So in the privacy management solution, is there any feature enhancements to conduct a privacy impact assessment for the organization?
That's a great question, and it's great to see it pop up here. That's certainly a top ask from our customers, and this is something that's not currently available in the G8 product, but actively working on thinking through what we can provide as a solution here. And so all great aspects. We are thinking through this. And Min, if you want to share anything here.
Yes, thanks, Shilpa. I think, yeah, definitely. I think this is something on top of the the list we are looking into, and which is, I think, we're really kind of trying to going down the path to understand, because the bigger capability we're looking into is really can be able to help organization be able to discover when they and where they need privacy impact assessment to start. And another side is, I think we're also looking to the depths of what are the privacy impact assessment templates we can bring to you, and to also enable you have the customization and bring your own kind of questionnaire. So all this capability we're looking into. And another kind of big differentiator we're looking into is also how we can bring all the policies we have, like data overexposure, data minimization, data transfer, because every of this can help you to auto-remediate, to be able to put the policy control into the part of the impact assessment to help you auto-remediate any of these controls, and provide the continuous monitoring for the impact assessment. So I think that these are the capability, as I say, is on top of our list we're looking to in our future roadmap.
Thank you, Min. And then one capability that we didn't talk about a lot in this session today, but is really exciting. Amy, I'll pass this over to you. So we've seen that customers, or we've heard that customers are struggling with automating their data subject requests, or what we call subject rights requests. How are we addressing some of those challenges in the solution today?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've talked about some challenges. Shilpa mentioned them as well earlier, but we've essentially simplified the process of executing a subject rights request, and we've automated that collection of data across Microsoft 365 based on the scope of the request. So one thing you may have heard if you were in the breakout session was a lot of times folks need to understand where the data is, how do they need to collect that data? How do they collaborate on that? And we've simplified a lot of that. So we eliminated those manual processes for finding and collecting the data across our services. We also enable secure collaboration. So you can provide direct access to specific requests for folks that maybe are in your team or they're across disciplines. So you can really take those to completion. You can securely collaborate on Teams channels that are built specifically for that request, or within the request itself using notes and so on. We've also optimized for the review experience, so you can easily review content in line directly in the subject rights request page, and you can also view details, to do annotation and redaction in line, and choose what you want to include for that export. And finally, we have things like Power Automate, right? We have Power Automate templates that you can launch. You can do things like create reminders for yourself to stay on top of completing these. We can integrate with ServiceNow, for example, if you're leveraging that to create cases that have all the pertinent details of the request to integrate with your current process today. And we also have, customizable actions that you can take on files that you're tagging for maybe request types that we may not, in version 1 handle natively. Say you want to perform some modification or other task on a file. So we provide those today out of the box, all meant to help you with automation and taking these to completion faster at scale.
Thank you, Amy. With that, That's all the time that we have today. Thank you for joining our session. We really appreciate all the questions. Looking forward to getting a lot more feedback from all of you. If you want to learn more, please check out our announcement blog that talks about the solution. We have on-demand sessions that you can check out. And also, privacy management is available for trial for free. So use the aka.ms/try privacy management link to try the solution. Thank you for joining us and hope you enjoy the rest of Ignite.